שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים, שבת אחים גם יחד, כי ישמר השבת אל ישמרני, כי ישמר השבת אל ישמרני, אותי לעונד בינו וביני, אותי לעונד בינו וביני. Try it with us. כי ישמר השבת אל ישמרני, כי ישמר השבת אל ישמרני, אותי לעונד בינו וביני, אותי לעונד בינו וביני.
That was beautiful. I really want to thank Sharon and Robin for joining tonight with Cindy and making this a more beautifully melodic and meaningful service. So again, Shabbat Shalom. We have 57 people signed up to join us tonight, and most of you are already here. If you don't know, I'm Rabbi August, and cantor is Cindy Paley, and we have Sharon Alexander and Robin Winston joining us too. It's our Friday night service, and we're so glad to be here. I found myself crying with tears of hope a few hours ago. Why? Not because of the ceasefire, which thank God has finally come. And not because of so many other things that I'm grateful for, but rather because of an article that I read in the forwards. I have been reading, talking with colleagues, listening to news and podcasts, trying desperately, like so many of you, to understand why the war between Israel and Gaza had to break out. Deja vu. The last one was 2014, but there's been 9 wars in the last 45 years. Endless, repeated wars. Blood spilled, innocent lives taken too soon on both sides. What can change? Well, this is not what I want to bring into Shabbat. So I want to bring in something beautiful and positive, which brought tears of hope. The forwards, and you can find it if you just go online. It was today's forwards. It's a Jewish news magazine, which used to be in print, but now is only online. It actually started as a Yiddish newspaper so many years ago. The forwards had videos of clerics, Muslim, Jewish, Christian, and Druze, Israeli religious figures, and ordinary citizens, and also members of soccer teams in Israel, saying that Arabs and Jews are brothers and sisters who are living and can continue to live in peace. They condemned the intercommunal violence that we saw on the street. Now we know, unfortunately, the media makes news, and news is violence. God forbid the news should be some of these positive things where people talking about the wonders and the beautiful things that are happening. Ads were hung up, and they said, Rotzim anachnu lechyot biyachad, with hundreds of names around it. We, all of us, want to live together. We can live together. We refuse to be enemies. There's a group called Activists for Unity, and they mobilized over 10,000 Jews and Arabs on social media in the past days to promote this agenda of coexistence. There's a woman named Shir Nostaki. She's an NGO, and her group is devoted to promoting Jewish and Arab coexistence. And she's in Israel, and she said, the truth is, at the end of the day, the Jews and Arabs who were involved in the violence, there were thousands of them, but they're a minority. There are millions of Jews and Arabs who are afraid and numb and have been living peacefully and want to continue to do that. She noted that just recently she produced a video of Arab Israel healthcare professionals. I think we heard about this in the news, who worked in Israel. And the Arab professionals, doctors and nurses, were helping Israelis, just as Israelis were helping Arab during the pandemic. And we don't hear enough about this. Also, for the first time, the day before the violence in East Jerusalem, and it's very problematic what happened because Netanyahu could not cobble together a government. So he had Yair Lapid and Bennett try to cobble together, and they did it. They got Zionists and a moderate Arab group. This Arab group does not want violence and believes in coexistence. These are Israeli Arabs. And for the first time, these groups got together and they were poised they were going to make a government happen. The next day, thugs, right-wing Israeli thugs, went through East Jerusalem and stirred up. And I'm not going to say anything because we don't have proofs, but it seemed like the prime minister might have been the one to light the match. It's just awful. Anyhow, they were going to join. Zionist Jews and Arabs were joining together to create a new vision in Israel. Netanyahu has been around for 25 years. He's been the king, the prime minister for 12, and it's not working. It's creating hatred and anger and violence. It's time for a change. And this is why I was crying today, and this is how I want to bring in Shabbat. There are so many decent people who, if given a chance, could find out what they have in common and find tolerance and acceptance to coexist with their differences and with each other. Ken yeh ratzon. May the openings continue to grow to make this happen. And let us all say, Amen.
Amen.
We're going to continue now welcoming Shabbat, and we're going to bring in the candle lighting prayer. At this time, if you have your candles with you and if it's safe to light them, please do so. I am in my office and I'm not comfortable lighting them now, so they're going to be lit downstairs a little later. And if you can, please rise. We hold our hands out in front of us. We bring in the warmth and love in the candles and hope and vision into our hearts. And we cover our eyes for kavanah, for intention, as we continue with the blessing. Cindy.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Amen.
We all say Amen. And if you're with people or if you're with yourself, let's send virtual hugs. Let's say good Shabbos or Shabbat Shalom. And if you feel comfortable with it, a hug and a kiss. I'm sending virtual ones. Shabbat Shalom. And we continue now.
So wonderful, finally.
I know.
We continue now on page number 1 with Shalom Aleichem. Everyone, Shalom Aleichem. Page 1 of our Friday night prayer book. You can find it in the chat if you didn't download it.
This is a melody not ever recorded by Debbie Friedman. So you'll pick it up. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Bimelech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Bochem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seitchem, Seitchem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
We're going to continue with a share screen for Lechu Niranana.
Just moving our candles.
Beautiful. Thank you. We're going to continue now on page number 2 of the Friday night prayer book with Lecha Dodi. We'll be doing verses 1, 2, and 9. Lecha Dodi.
Na 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 Lecha Dodi. Na 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 Likhat Kala. Na 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 Penei Shabbat. Penei Shabbat. Nikabela, na 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 Lecha Dodi, na 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 Likhat Kala, na 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 Penei Shabbat, Penei Shabbat Nikabela, Shamor v'Zachor b'dibur echad. Ishmi'anu el hamiuchad, Adonai echad, u'shmo echad, l'shem u'tiferet v'litzilah. נקבלה לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה כי מקור הברכה מראש מקדם נסוכה סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה יאי לי לה 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 לכת אותי לה 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 לקראת כלה לה 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 פני שבת נקבלה בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה גם בשמחה ובצהלה תוך אמונה עם סגולה בואי חלה בואי חלה יאי לי לי לה 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 לכת אותי לה 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 לקראת כלה לה 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 פני שבת נקבלה לה 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 לכת אותי לה 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 לקראת כלה לה 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 פני שבת נקבלה.
Thank you. And Cindy, we're going to go now to Baruch. I'm going to do my sermon after Hashkivenu, where it was originally supposed to be. So let's continue with Baruch. If you're able, please rise. And we turn in the prayer book to page number 3. The Baruch, the call to prayer. Going to continue now with reading number 1. And Sarah Fields, are you there? Can you raise your hand and we'll...
I'm here, Rabbi, and I just unmuted.
And it's page number 4, Turn Me Towards the Light. And if you would be so kind, would you read that for us? Page number 4, English reading. Thank you, Sarah.
Okay. Turn me toward the light. Uncover the choices that flourish when I relinquish my yesterdays. Turn me toward the light. Unveil the hope that grows when I face my realities. Turn me toward today. Turn me to a vision of possibilities that denies apprehensions. Turn me toward today. Turn me to this moment of extension that opens my old constrictions. Before me, you place iridescence to soften brittle sorrows. Let me rest on the cushion of your care, comforted by your regard. Beside me, you heap soft pillows to ease ancient grief. Bolster my courage with your kindness as you support my head. Stretch the stiff limbs of my confusion and let me rise, renewed, to turn into your light. And that's by David Perlman.
Sarah, that's a fabulous reading, and I think we all needed to hear that today. Before we continue with the Shema, usually I like to quiet us down before Listen Israel. But instead of getting serious and having a meditation, if you'd like, you could close your eyes. But I read something that I think is so apropos. It was in the Wall Street Journal today, and it's called How to Concentrate on God in a Pandemic. I'm looking at gallery. If any of you read it, could you hold up your hand? Susan, wasn't that funny? I see Susan read it. Anyone else? It was a lovely piece. And the ceasefire is over, is on, and the carnage is over, it's on hold. So I think it's time to bring in perhaps just something a little lighter. I'm going to share a little bit of it at the beginning. It's an introduction to the Shema. If you want more of it, you could look it up, or it's in the Wall Street Journal today. It's in the editorial page called Houses of Worship by Alan Ripp. So he starts by saying, my religious attendance unexpectedly improved during the pandemic. So rather than wheeling myself across town to our regular synagogue, I simply joined the live stream service. We could log on 1,000 people on a Shabbat. And that's like what we're doing right now. My wife and I became regulars on Friday night evenings, on the candlelighting Havdalah Zoom, but I'm not sure that I've upped my game in praying or communicating with God. I've never been a natural with prayer. As a kid, I tuned out the rabbis, and I stared around me at men whose starched shirt collars left blood-red creases in their necks from constantly rising and sitting down. During the Torah reading, my mind wandered to downstairs to the vending machines where Necco wafers and lifesavers beckoned me. Though I also got lost in the stained glass windows and the unseen choir from the nest above the ark. 6 decades later, it's still an effort to stay on spiritual track, especially during the Amidah, the blessings that give a ritual thanks to God, reciting multiple times while standing, including an extended silent portion. Trying to concentrate with full kavanah, with intention, I stumble through the Hebrew, move to the English, and read with its exalted praise of the divine. You sustain the living with loving kindness. You revive the dead with great compassion. You support the fallen and heal the ill. Can I sit down yet? I'm going to skip a little bit to the part that's relevant for us right now. Our rabbi said that not all prayers demand equal devotion. You want to save your best focus for the Shema, and that's the prayer we have coming up. He said that's the daily prayer whose title means listen, and it's a declaration of oneness of God. Now, I was taught in religious school that the Shema means you have one God and no idols. And I'd like to ask you, who among you have seen any little idols lately? It's so not relevant for us. So what does it mean to have one God? And the truth is, it's what's really been going on around us right now in our politics in America, around the world, certainly in Israel and Gaza. And I am such a lover of Israel. We just need some change. Oneness means truth. There's one God, a God of justice, of truth, of tolerance, of compassion. That's what we listen to. It's not about lies that we hear. It's not about continued violence. It's not about only seeing differences. It's about tolerating each other. seeing what we have in common and having a vision to do something else instead of continued violence. And in our country, it's getting past the lies that are promoted all around us. So we now continue with Listen Israel, and we sing about our God, who's a God of one God, of universal love and freedom. Please turn to page number 6 for the Shema, and page number 7 also for the Shema, and page 8 for V'ahavta.
Be doing the V'ahavta in English by Debbie Friedman. Listen, Israel, Adonai our God is one. 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 Shema. Listen, Israel, Adonai our God, Eloheinu Adonai.
We continue covering our eyes with the traditional Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
And the V'ahavta in English.
With signing by Robin. And you shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. And all these words which I command you on this day shall be in your heart, shall be in your heart, and you shall teach them diligently unto your children, and you shall speak of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up, and when you rise up, and you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be for frontlets between your eyes, and you shall write them on the doorposts of your house, and upon your gates, and upon your gates. remember and do all of my commandments, and be holy unto your God, unto your God, unto your God.
Thank you, Robin, and thank you, Cindy, and thank you. It's just so lovely to hear Sharon, everybody singing together. So we're going to continue now with another English reading on page number 8, and Wendy Ellman. Wendy is there, yes? Can you unmute yourself, Wendy? We're on page number 8, one Friday.
Okay, hold on, wait, let me get to the page.
Take your time.
Okay.
One Friday night. So lovely, another lovely English reading.
Sorry, I didn't know I was going to do this. Glasses.
The prices are good, aren't they, Wendy?
Surprise.
As long as we have our glasses.
As long as we have our glasses.
Uh-huh.
One Friday night, the woman behind me sang a nigun with such depth, the strength of her voice overtook me, swaying to her right and left. Now she is standing and moving about. Now she is dancing, dancing in abandon, moving among the others, eyes closed, feet bare, heart wide open. Until this night, I never knew. This was prayer. I always thought it was keeping quiet, sitting with your family, humming the melodies. What I never understood was this could be mine. I could lose myself in the creative act of prayer. I could dance and abandon, sing and chant these words and what they would mean to me. No one else had to know. I never knew you could dance the Shema.
Thank you. And doesn't this remind us all about our wonderful years of retreats and dancing the Shema and dancing all those prayers? I see Marla, Aleha Shalom, and all of us dancing joyously. We never knew that that's what prayer could be, and it is. And we will dance again. Let's continue now. Thank you, Wendy. We're going to continue on page 10. Be humble.
La la la
Shehechianu moment because I don't think I've seen you play the drums before.
I am trying to do justice to Joy.
Kudos for Robin. The drums
Isn't she
make a
great?
difference. You were wonderful. Yeshikara.
I miss Joy.
We do. We're sending out our love to Joy, and we're looking forward to having her back soon. Song sheets for Hashki Venu. We'll be sharing the screen. We continue with Hashki Venu, which is a prayer asking for protection.
Doing a mashup of Hashki Venu and One Day by Matisyahu. Hashki Venu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim. Hashki Venu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim. Hashki Venu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim. One day, one day, one day, one day, one day. Sometimes I lay under the moon. I thank God I'm breathing. Then I pray, don't take me soon. I am here for a reason. Sometimes in my tears I drown, but I never let it get me down. So when negativity surrounds, I know someday it'll all turn around, because all my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say that we don't want to fight no more. There'll be no more wars, and our children will play. One day, one day, one day, one day, one day, one day. Hashki Venu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu malkeinu l'shalom. Hashki Venu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim.
So relevant, Cindy. Beautiful. We're continuing now with my other remarks for you tonight. So the theme that we had tonight was getting out of the cave. I think many of us have been venturing out, and I think most of us here tonight have been vaccinated. I took my daughter to Muir Woods for Mother's Day. It was the first time to really venture out of the cave, our safe home, and to go forth to an adventure. This was our first trip that was a vacation. We took 4 days. We both have been very careful during the COVID, and we had trepidation and a little anxiety about going on this trip. But we knew we were mostly going to hike in the redwood forest and not be around too many people. It was a good trip. We took precautions. We wore our masks indoors. We followed protocol and had time outdoors mask-free. I am so grateful. A stimulus for this trip was a Zoom teaching with a rabbi from Israel a few weeks before. Min hametzar karatiya, she said, from emerging from our narrow places, we call to you, God, for a wider vision, a wider expanse, an unknown adventure. I listened to Calm at Night, and one of the stories was Muir Woods. I heard the teaching, I heard Muir Woods, and I was off. In her teaching, we studied an Agadic tale from the Talmud that I think a lot of you know about. It's about the emergence of a fetus from the womb. In the narrow space constricted in the room, the fetus is all crunched up and its mouth is closed. The teaching in the Talmud says that there's a candle in the womb, lit up above the fetus's head. And the fetus can gaze from one end of the world to another. The fetus is taught the entire wisdom of the Torah while in the womb. But when it emerges into the airspace of the world, an angel comes and slaps it on its mouth, causing it to forget the entire Torah, everything that he or she had learned. And the fetus, however, does not forget to leave the womb until the angels administer an oath. So before the fetus is slapped on the mouth, the fetus has to agree to the following. The angel says, remember, be righteous and do not do wicked. Know that the Holy One, blessed be God, is pure, and the soul that God has given you is pure. And if you preserve it in a state of purity, all is well. But if not, I, the angel, shall take your soul from you. This is one of 2 Zoom teachings, both with a message. Emerging from our caves is not simple, and it's not easy. One needs to prepare, take an oath, be thoughtful. What are we really emerging into? And what are we emerging from? Everybody's emergence is different. I always like this story of knowing the Torah and then forgetting all the wisdom. It's taught that that's why we have this little line above our upper lip. That's where the angel slapped us, and that's how we forgot. Yet we, as the fetus did, we can emerge with something. Even though we might have forgotten exactly what we were taught, we emerge with a yearning for something that was lost, something precious, pure, meaningful, and whole. It is that yearning that stays with each of us for a lifetime as we search for what we lost. And this is why we have curiosity and desire to study continually and to grow. We search for the light of Torah our whole lives, for wholeness, fulfillment, and for truth. My dear friends, let us emerge knowing that we are yearning what we are yearning for. And I venture to say, we're yearning for friendship, connection, appreciation of the natural world, possibilities for adventure and fun. Let us pay attention to our feelings. And if we are fearful, know you must emerge at your own pace and at your own time. Reintroduce activity slowly and disconnect when you need to. Our lives have changed over this past year. Physically, I have noticed I'm not as strong as I used to be, and I tire much more easily. I also do not want to be in a crowd. I'm still cautious and careful, and will wait until I resume many of my older normal activities. And I have faith and hope that as we open up and more people are vaccinated and we get a herd immunity, I will, like each of you, I'll find what has been lost. Like the new baby yearning for the light of Torah, we will rekindle our friendships in person, and we will hug each other again. We will pray and study and dance together, and even, God willing, have our wonderful luncheons after our Shabbat morning services. I can't wait. Let me conclude with some verses from Psalm 122, many of which are known and have been put to music, especially by Rabbi Carlebach. And it's especially apropos now, in the midst of our immersion and after the 10-day war between Israel and Gaza, and the ceasefire, thank God, that finally arrived. And this is a reinterpreted version of this beautiful Psalm 122. I rejoiced when I heard them announce, the time of warfare is past. No more will brother and sister hate each other, or violence have its way. No more will they drown out God's voice and shut their heart to God's song. Pray for peace in the cities and harmony among the races. May peace come to live in our streets and justice within our walls. With all my heart, I will pray that peace comes to live among all of us. Lema'an achai v're'ai, for the sake of all earth's people, brothers and sisters and friends. Shalom lach. I will do my utmost, each of us, to bring peace. And let us all say, Amen.
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 We're going to continue with our next prayer. You can find it on page 11, the prayer for Friday night, Shabbat, Vishamru.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם, לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם לעולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם, לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי, וביום השביעי שבת שבת ויהי נפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם, לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם, לדורותם ברית עולם.
Fabulous. I think that's woken us all up for the joy of Shabbat.
I hope so.
Going to continue, mindful of time. Cindy, we're just going to continue now with the silent Amidah. Please turn in your prayer books to pages 13 through 17. And there's English readings between pages 15a and 17. We're going to take a few minutes now, each of us with our own private prayers and reflections. Feel free to rise if you are able. If not, stay still, and we'll see you back here in about a minute and a half. Thank you. Feel free to continue your prayers if you're still praying. If not, we can sit down and we continue on page 17 with Shalom Rav.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech haton lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם.
Thank you. The next page we continue with Misha Berach. We take the time now to hold the people we love who need prayers for healing in our hearts. And we ask God to send the correct procedures and professionals to help with their healing, along with our love. Misha Berach. If you need to put a name of someone into Misha Berach, please put it in the chat. We only take names up to 24 hours ahead. We'd love to see those names in the chat now. Here's the list of people we're saying Misha Berach for.
Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misha Berach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with the Refuah Shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Ashta uva agala v'zman kariv and amar amen. May healing come hurriedly in our time, and we say amen. We're going to continue now with the Aleinu. Please turn to page 18. If you're able, please rise.
עלינו לשבח לה וגורלנו ככל המונם, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. משתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. עלינו, 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 ככתוב בתורתך אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
I don't know about you, but I was up dancing, and I think
I hope so.
things are a little bit better. I bring us our attention to the words of the Judy Chicago famous poem that has been very popular over the years. All of us will live one day in harmony and peace. Amen.
Amen.
We turn our attention now to those who are no longer with us. Again, we're going to share the screen. Those who are observing a yahrzeit or those who are in mourning, we have names up here. If there's someone you'd like to say the mourner's Kaddish for, please again put their names in the chat if you haven't already done so. Please join in support if you'd like, or if not, just the mourners. We continue with Mourner's Kaddish, page 19. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
V'yama divrach cherutei v'yamlich malchutei. V'chayechon u'v'yomeichon u'v'chayedecho beit Yisrael. V'agala v'zman kari v'yimru amen. V'hei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'le'amei amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shmei dekudesha b'rechu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tush b'chata v'nechemata damiran b'alma v'yimru amen. V'hei shlama Rabbah min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav. Hu yaseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel. All people everywhere v'yimru amen.
Amen.
We're going to invite our president, Carol Whiskey Burns, to deliver some announcements and thank yous.
Okay. Every time I click on something, I lose my, okay. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. And thank you again for welcoming Lev into your home. These Kabbalat Shabbat services are truly a gift to reaffirm and celebrate our connections to our heritage and Lev. And we are really grateful to have Rabbi August and Cindy creating this beautiful, inspiring, and uplifting service. It's like the sheer joy on all of your faces. Robin and Sharon, thank you for joining us. It's just so heartwarming and inspiring. Thank you. Thank you again, Robin, for signing the V'Hafta, and thank you, Maddie, for your technical wizardry. We love all of our donors who have supported our services and events. You can donate to honor or celebrate a special person's milestones, or just because you love Lev. See our website to donate. Almost every month for the past year, we have had additional teachings and services to connect with our Lev community and provide spiritual balance. The next regular monthly service will be on Saturday, June 5th 10 to 11:30. And we will have the last service. Here's a Kabbalat Shabbat also on June 18th from 7:30 to 8:30, 8:45. And there's no cost, but everybody must register. So looking forward with hope and promise that we will be able to see each other face to face, arm in arm, and share a meal under one roof is just great inspiration to the board. We have a lot of work to do this summer to make this happen. And I am really in just absolute appreciation for everybody on the board. Thank you, ladies. Anyway, everybody be safe, be well, take good care of yourselves. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you so much, Carol. And we all have the same sentiments. And I want to personally also thank everybody for coming. And Maddie Ziff, thank you. We couldn't do this without you. And Rose, you're also such a delight and such a help, and to the board also. We're going to now conclude our service. Cindy has a gift for us, a new song called Until We Meet Again. And that will be our conclusion. We'll have a chance to wave and say Shabbat Shalom. Good night.
We're going to share the screen. It was so wonderful singing with you. This is a new song, so follow along. We have made a tapestry of love. Together we have woven it with threads from up above. With every song in harmony, we've pulled a color through. One thread is us, one thread is me, one thread is you. And so we're leaving something beautiful that nobody knew before. We'll wrap it round our shoulders through the days and through the nights until we meet again. Oh, until we meet again. Oh, until we meet again. We have made a tapestry of song. We've reached across the oceans and we've called each other home. And witnessing each other pulls another color through. One thread is us, one thread is me, one thread is you. And so we're leaving something beautiful that nobody knew before. We'll wrap it round our shoulders through the days and through the nights until we meet again. Oh, until we meet again. Oh, until we meet again. We have made a tapestry of peace. With every song and story we have strengthened our belief. And every spark of hope has pulled another color through. One thread is us, one thread is me, one thread is you. And so we're leaving something beautiful that nobody knew before. We'll wrap it round our shoulders through the days and through the nights until we meet again. Oh, until we meet again. Oh, until we meet again. We have made a tapestry of light, while every beat and rhythm calls our spirit to take flight. And every act of joy has pulled another color through. One thread is us, one thread is me, one thread is you. And so we're leaving something beautiful that nobody knew before. We'll wrap it round our shoulders through the days and through the nights until we meet again. Oh, 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 until we meet again. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Lila.